Hello. I wish I didn't wear a black shirt. I nearly did, and I was like, I should wear white because otherwise you can't tell my hair from my shirt, and then I just put on a black tee, so I guess that's what we're rolling with today. I went on a little rant on my Instagram stories. One of the things I said in that rant was that a lot of people blame counting calories and say counting calories is like difficult or they don't get the results they want counting calories. And I said, well, hey, look, a lot of people don't count calories accurately. So I wanted to put together a little reference video for you. I feel like sometimes, yes, the whole process can seem fundamentally flawed. There are going to be errors, but it's just about minimizing the errors that you are making. Like, for example, even the food labels on packages, they can be off by like 20 to 25%, and there's a whole heap of different variables involved. Now, I'm not going to touch on how to calculate your own calories. I do cover that in my nutrition guide ebook. I have a full equation which I use for myself and all my clients, or there's heaps of places you can find online. I used to only be able to track like once, maybe twice a week, and then the rest of the time I would sort of eat more intuitively. But the further that I've gotten into this, I'm happy to count because it helps me be mindful and it helps me know where I'm at most of the time. Now, I'm not talking like, you know, elite competitive athlete level. I'm talking just like lifestyle, health and fitness level. Most of the time the problem is not in the calculation of the calories, but actually in how adherent you are to it. Okay, so without rambling on any further, I'm going to talk about ways that you can eliminate as many variables as possible. One of the first mistakes that I see when it comes to counting calories is estimating the portion size. So I've got these two bowls here, and let's say I want half a cup of oats in each. This one I'm gonna estimate. And then this one, you know what, that might be too much. So we'll call this one bowl A, and we'll call this one bowl B. All right, they look reasonably similar, right? Scale set to 0, my oatmeal's here. This is bowl A, the estimate. $59 grams. Now we've got bowl B, which was the measured. So this should be about 45 grams. Exactly 45. So if we're looking from a calorie perspective then, so there's the difference between those two. And I know it's only one food group, but how easy is it to accidentally over or under pour the amount that you need, which will affect your daily intake? You could be using one spray of oil rather than just dumping a bunch in a pan and not knowing exactly how much you've used. And I'll look at some almond butter. So as you can see, the serving size of this almond butter is only 10 grams. And I feel like I've done this before, and you've probably done this before, where you just like put a spoon in, you take a tablespoon and you just like have it because it's delicious and why not? But if you're not weighing it and you just track it as 1 tablespoon or 1 serving, you could easily be having double or triple what the serving size actually is, and therefore consuming more calories than you think you are. Now, adding in extra for exercise, this is a tricky one because if you are just using an app and you fill in your details and it spits out a number that you should be consuming, then if you exercise, you'll see that you get additional calorie allowance. The problem with this, what you use to track your calorie burning, like Fitbits, Apple Watches, all those sort of things, they are not accurate. When it comes to me tracking in my food app, which is LifeSum, I actually go into the settings and I turn off the tracking exercise calories because I don't want it adding in extra calories every day for what it thinks I've burned, because in my equation, which I use to calculate my calories, I've already taken exercise into account. Now let's talk about different food types. When it comes to weighing your food, I would typically recommend weighing meats and meat type products raw. When it comes to starchy vegetables, I would say you're typically going to be looking for the cooked weight, and things like rice, pasta, and oatmeal, again, you'll go for the raw weight. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, is that they just plug things in. When it comes to meat weights, going from raw meat to cooked meat can lose about 20 to 25% of its overall weight. If you are weighing cooked chicken, but you're entering the amount for raw chicken, you're eating more calories than you thought you were. Not in all cooking processes, but in a lot. When it comes to meat products, their total volume is reduced because the water leaves the product. But when it comes to starchy carbs, something like rice or pasta is going to have more volume added in because it absorbs the water. I would be so surprised if anyone could accurately track every calorie that they eat of every day. So what I like to think of it as is like a target. You want to try to hit your protein as close as possible, maybe like 5% variance for fats and about 10% variance for carbs. By treating it as a range that you need to hit rather than an exact target, I think it makes it more maintainable over the long term. When it comes to eating at a restaurant or a cafe or something like that, if they list the calories or macros, a lot of places do undervalue them. So they might be off by about 20%. And if you're at a place which doesn't list the calories or the macros, when you do get your serving size, I would also add an extra 40% for leeway. Just because when they are cooking in the kitchens, they don't follow things to a T. And it can mean that your portion size might be bigger than you were anticipating. So general rule of thumb, if you are out at a cafe or restaurant or whatever, when you're trying to input the caloric data, always assume the worst. You always round up as well, don't you? Learning how things are cooked and getting familiar with cooking terms is also very useful. So, you know, the difference between poaching and grilling and baking and frying. What does that mean for you from an additional ingredient and therefore calorie perspective? And what's more than that, to make it even more confusing if you want to, chopping, blending, and even cooking can make the calories in the food more bioavailable to us, so therefore we absorb more. And on top of that as well, your gut microbiota can affect how much you absorb. My advice when it comes to planning your day is to actually work backwards. One of the biggest things I found when I first started tracking calories is that I would just sort of track what I felt like eating and I'd get along, and then at the end of the day I was just left with like whack calories. It'd be like, oh, you know, 150 calories left over, and I was like, what am I meant to eat for dinner with this? And it just makes the whole day really difficult. Whereas I find if you can plan your dinner first, so what I would recommend doing is planning your dinner and setting that out so you know exactly what you're having, and if you want, that can be tomorrow's lunch. Then next, either plan your lunch or your breakfast, and then what we're going to do with any weird leftover calories is we use our snacks for those. Because snack portion sizes are often easier to control, we get more variability in terms of what's available. Snacks can also be like 1 to 2 macros. It doesn't need to be as balanced as a full meal. Just to recap, in terms of calculating your calories, I do cover that in my nutrition guide, or you can find calculators online. In terms of macronutrients, this is so different for everybody, which is why I like to cover it in my one-on-one coaching, rather than just being like, oh, here's a generic rule. Play around, find the ratio that works for you. I hope this was useful, and I hope you can actually implement some of these tips so that you can get the results that you want through being able to more accurately track those calories and those macronutrients. If you haven't already, feel free to join us, come and hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you all in my next upload. Bye.